Let's back to the tourism sector, where the Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala has confirmed that the Ministry of Wildlife and Tourism has currently compensated 163 cleared and verified human-wildlife conflict deaths, and the claims with each victim receiving 5 million shillings. The CS, however, admits that such compensation is ongoing and there still exists a huge backlog of uncompensated claims from the past year.
Early this month, Parliament summoned Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala over failure to settle more than 6 billion shillings in compensation to persons injured or the next of kin of those killed by wild animals. Narok women representative Soipan Tuia demanded a report on the status of the compensation, claiming that Narok County, which hosts Masai Mara Game Reserve, had suffered huge losses arising from human-wildlife conflicts. The government had attributed delays in compensation to the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala has today confirmed that the Ministry of Wildlife and Tourism has compensated 163 verified human-wildlife conflict death claims, with each victim receiving 5 million shillings.
Then there are the people who got injured, another huge amount of figure that was presented to us. So we discussed with the National Assembly and we agreed, because the amount of figure is small, let's try to pay in 3 batches. So we pay 25%, then we pay 30%, then we complete the last payment at the end. So I believe there's a big amount of people, big number has been paid that 25% so far, but we haven't completed our obligation.
The CS has further assured Kenyans in the rural areas that the ministry is working closely with the Ministry of Health to ensure rural dispensaries are equipped with antivenoms to save people suffering from snake bites, considering they contribute up to 60% of claims already submitted to the government. Balala, however, admitted that there still exists a huge backlog of uncompensated claims from the past years.
2014 to 2018, there was not a single penny paid to people in human-wildlife conflict, until when we came in as a new state department for wildlife. And the money that has been allocated by Treasury, it was small bits of money. And I said in my previous speech, that when we looked at the backlogs, the money that was presented by the Community Conservation Compensation Committee was almost 10 billion. We tried to form an interministerial committee to make sure that this 10 billion, is it the right figure or is not the right figure? With proper scrutinization of this by the Interministerial Committee and with KWS, we realized there is quite a bit was discrepancies. Almost 4 billion was discrepancies.
The CS made the remarks while receiving a task force report on the human-wildlife compensation schemes. The task force on human-wildlife conflict compensation scheme was appointed by the Tourism CS Najib Balala on 14th June 2019 to develop an implementation strategy with recommendations on most suitable schemes for government to adopt and enhance human-wildlife coexistence, as well as actualize the Wildlife Conservation and Management Act 2013.
The Act is very clear. The Wildlife Conservation and Management Act 2013 provides for the establishment of an insurance scheme to compensate the victims. The Act also proposes other modes of intervention for mitigating human-wildlife conflict, as well as compensating victims. I therefore took that opportunity to form this task force. Today, Kenya marks a milestone towards modernizing and the management of human-wildlife conflict in the country. I'm delighted to learn that the team has developed an innovative approach for managing human-wildlife conflict in our country.
Among the recommendations presented by the task force is the redefinition of community wildlife committees, adoption of technology of claims process, adoption of mobile money payment of schemes, and collaboration of the ministry with the National Health and Insurance Fund to provide medical response services.
The government is committed towards allocation of funds to ensure that the implementation of such actions, both in the sessional paper, in these reports, are implemented.
The pilot of the scheme will be carried out in Taita Taveta, Kajiado, Narok and Meru counties for the next 8 months. For Metropol TV, I'm Nancy Marende.